Broadcasting live from inside the power band, this is The Blah. In this episode, everybody dies. I'm your host, the Mulverine, also known as Briar Tuck, along with my intrepid companions, Slab.
Yo.
And Richard Doofus.
Ahoy.
Ahoy. Welcome to the show, folks.
It sounded like Dreyfus a little bit there. Just
a little bit. This week, in accordance with the looming date of the scriptures and Groundhog Day, which is coming up in just 2 days. Of course, this will be recorded. You'll be hearing this after we recorded it. We're doing the 1993
Yes, you will be hearing
Ultra.
it after we recorded it.
Duh. That's a death. That is such a death. We're doing the 1993 Uber classic Groundhog Day, starring Bill Murray and Harold Ramis and Andy McDowell, Stephen Tobolowsky, Brian Doyle Murray, and many, many other fine people. Let's get to it.
And Cabin Boy.
Oh, hell yeah.
Go ahead, dudes.
It had been a long time. I've seen this a billion times, which is, insert obvious joke here. I kind of feel like this was on TV a lot. I mean, it's such a family-friendly-ish, PG-ish movie that it's kind of a no-brainer for all of the TV channels that used to show commercial movies. So I feel like that was probably half of the viewings, and then the other half might have been HBO or some shit. But it's it's one that I remember fondly, and then it's been a million years, and very whelmed redemption movie. It was a good redemption movie, and I don't know. I had never realized the kind of parallels to like a Scrooged, also starring Bill Murray, where like he needs to pull his head out of his ass to conclude the plot or whatever. And there's been a million copies, but there's only one original Groundhog, and I enjoyed watching it again.
Yes. And now to Richard Doofus.
So, I don't know. I've definitely seen this multiple times. Still very enjoyable to watch. Nothing changed there. I did notice this time that he sort of uses his situation to, like, I don't know, become like a natural superhero of sorts. Like,
oh, I like it.
Like, I kept thinking, it kept occurring to me, like, as he like really sort of like starts to get into his groove, and like, he's like rolling up with a jack on old ladies who got a flat. He's like, "Don't worry, ladies, I got it." Catching the kid and all that shit, and like, I don't know, it was just it sort of almost struck me as like a proto superhero movie on this watch.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I like that.
I had James Bond in my head, I started like referring in my head. I was referring to The Final Day as like the James Bond day. You know what I mean? Like, because he's like a total super spy. It's like everything's perfect. Like he walks in the room, everybody's like, "Yo," you know what I mean? Like saves the, gives the Heimlich maneuver, jacks up the car, saves the kid, like does everything, plays at the concert. Like. Total super spy, superhero thing, man. I dig that. Yeah, I had the same exact inclination too, man.
Hell of a day.
Yeah, that's really so interesting.
Yeah, and I also saw it this time as like, I was like, this is like a sci-fi movie. I never really thought about it that way, but it really is.
Sure.
I mean, you could it falls into a lot of categories, but it is very much a sci-fi movie because it's like, endless time loop type thing. It's pretty cool. And I similarly to Chad, I've seen this movie literally 100 times or more. I just absolutely love it. You can watch it over and over and still wonder, about certain elements of the film. And I love movies like that. And it's just great. It's so funny. It's like Bill Murray and Ramis at their best. And sadly, this was their last collaboration, and they never even spoke again until Harold Ramis died, which is really sad, dude, because they
spoke before he died.
Really, really. Yeah, I know.
Okay, I see. Yeah, the way the wording sounded like they didn't speak, and up until
well,
okay,
they didn't speak
Years.
until 2014. Yeah, like almost 20 years until 2014, right before he died. So, kind of sad, but I absolutely love this movie. It's a classic. It holds up perfectly. It's still just fantastic. I watched it twice with no problem whatsoever. And that's it. Let's talk about this legendary movie because it is legendary.
I like the Bond
that.
and the superhero angle, but sorry, go ahead, Benny.
I was going to say, I just had to say, I love that we, of all holidays, to not fuck up and
Right?
actually remember to do an appropriate film.
Totally,
we went with fucking Groundhog Day.
We fuck up every other holiday. I love it.
The dumbest of the holidays. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like Valentine's Day. It's such a non-holiday,
I love it.
But I think it's cooler because of this movie, Ben. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
hell yeah.
It is cooler because of the movie, for sure. But, yeah, I won't be heading down to Gobbler's Knob anytime soon.
No, but a lot of people did, evidently, so it's it makes it cooler for people like us. And then I love that the tourists, flood the town and, spend a bunch of money. I bet you that people.
No, it's become it's become a major tourist attraction and a major source of income for Punxsutawney. And it wasn't even filmed there.
I bet you they're half grumpy and half happy about it, but hey, whatever.
I'm sure.
Coming from a tourist town
restaurant
ourselves,
owners and bed and breakfast owners love it, and everybody else fucking
everyone else
hates
is like, brr. I thought it's interesting that you guys. I mean, it makes total sense, the James Bondy stuff, the sci-fi stuff. I particularly resonate with the superhero angle. I actually just came at it from the exact opposite, where I was so
really
tied up with the redemption. Like, I think I'm just smitten by the fact that Bill Murray, who plays such an excellent prick, is essentially forced to unprickify himself. And I don't know. It just so resonates with me of trying to be a better person. Like, I was probably 14 when I saw this, and I was full fucking I was in full prick mode.
Douche
so
mode.
I think like
I was a real douchebag.
I was such a fucking piece of shit. And, never had a serious girlfriend at that stage because I was so young. And so it was like, I want to marry Andy McDowell or whatever. So you kind of like, as a tween prick, you resonate with the Bill Murrays of the world. I was once a weatherman too.
Sure.
And I just so appreciate him being forced to fucking pull his head out of his ass, like, it's just like, I was charmed by the fact that he manages to do it. And I think when you were talking about the superhero thing, there was like a little pause there, Benny, and I thought you were going to comment on like how he uses his powers to like shag every bird in town through like being a skeezy fuck, like, because he's super skeezy at the beginning,
There's an evolution to the whole thing. He starts off with the sleaziness, and then works his way up to like genuinely looking out for the town. Yeah,
and it's great, and it's real. Like, I feel like that's what a lot of people would do. You'd take advantage of the situation in the beginning, and go and eat unlimited donuts at the diner or whatever the fuck, and then by the end, you'd probably just get bored of all that. I would still have
a few days where that's all that I do,
Totally. I'm taking a break today.
I think that the brilliance of the film is that it's like multi-layered. There's so many ways you can view it. And like, it's interesting too now doing it now, 20 whatever years later. Like, I've seen this so many times, but I haven't really watched it in a while. I mean, even though I know it by heart, so I had a different take on it as an older me, which was interesting, And then I also think that it resonates well because every single person has been at the point where they've had to change something about themselves in their life. You know what I mean? Whether you're 14, 19, 34, or 49. And it's an easily relatable thing, you know what I mean? And it's cool to be presented in this way of having really just kind of infinite time to do it, you know what I mean? And you're not getting a choice, you like have to do it, which is often the case in life, but we don't get like a loop day to get it all right like he does, you know?
Yeah.
Which is cool.
But yeah, we wish maybe it's that classic, like, I wish I could pause time thing.
Yeah.
Maybe to say it in a slightly different way, I like movies like this, or like Scrooged, or like, you know, whatever, not necessarily Bill Murray movies, where whether the person likes it or not, they're forced to sort their shit out. Like, they probably wouldn't have gotten there on their own, you know? And so, like, the outside universe / story is pushing them to do so. You know, like, I was just kind of like farting around Googling other movies that are not quite like this, but kind of like this. And there was like that, Bruce Almighty or whatever, or like Liar, Liar.
Yeah.
There's like lots of movies in the space around maybe this time, maybe like in the 20-year period of the 90s and early 2000s or whatever. And I don't know, it's kind of like watching, like, you know, YouTube videos where people like get kicked in the nuts or something. Like, you just can't not watch someone get forced to be better, you know? You're just like, yeah, fuck this guy. He's an asshole, you know? And you kind of enjoy that coercion. I don't know. It's almost like you kind of like, it's the like, I want to be better, but I don't want to do the work today. I want to eat donuts, but you're just like, I just wish somebody would force me. I wish I could get stuck in a time limit. I could sort my shit out and then I can just jump out of it. That'd be cool. You know, I don't know. It just resonates in a weird way, if that makes sense.
100%, man. I think like that, plus like Murray's likable enough to,
and is likable enough.
Well, he's likable enough that you like him when he's a dick, and you cheer for him as he's changing, and you like him when he's a changed man. You know?
Sure.
It's great.
He sells the shit out of the changed man stuff. Like, it
totally.
It's very, very, very clear that he changes.
Yeah.
And has very, very, very clear
so.
that he just tries to get in Rita's pants that first time that he almost gets there in the bedroom with the ice cream, you know, and it's just, that's the skeevy, you know, that's the end of the skeevy sack, and then he has to find the real path.
Using the time-old classic line used by men. No, I don't want you to stay over either. That's why I'm just going to show you this one thing and kick you right out. It's like, okay, that's never been said before.
He's a charmer.
Yeah, he really is. I had forgotten that this was the end of him and Ramos's collab. And
what happened there?
Well, apparently Bill Murray this is what I'm piecing together from marginal information on Let's Make Nuggets Not Fun, but apparently Bill Murray was going through a divorce, and he had a lot of anxiety, so he was really, really focused on the movie. And him and Ramos were at odds about the direction the movie should be. Like, Murray actually wanted to focus on more of the, like, you know, sort of the deeper stuff, you know, the more spiritual side of it. And Ramos was focused on the comedy. And I mean, obviously that's why we got such a great product. But at one point, he sent, I think, the writer or one of the writers over to talk to Murray to kind of calm him down. And like, I don't know, he took great offense to that, and that was it.
I also heard that like there might have been a moment where Ramos like collar grabbed him and smashed him up against a wall or whatever, which who cares if that's true or not, but it at least gives vibe indications. And then I've also, you know, I imagine you guys have too, like, you hear rumblings from the rumor mills and bullshit factories of like Murray can be a bit prickish on set and stuff like that. So like, it wouldn't surprise me if he's going through a divorce, he's being a prick, he's taking things too seriously and pushing the guy, you know, pushing his friend to do things that he doesn't want to do, and all of that added up to a problem.
Presuming to know what the movie's about, even though he didn't fucking write it. I mean, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I mean Ramos was one of the writers, so like, I would have probably felt the same way. Like, dude, shut the fuck up and act.
Yeah. Exactly. He does give me a little bit of a pain in the ass vibe from time to time, but I don't know the man, so it's a bit rich to say.
You're talking about Murray?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that 100%.
Mostly a beloved pain in the ass, but a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
I would hope so.
Definitely. He's definitely a
Unless
beloved.
But the thing about the beloved pains in the asses in my life is that
unless you're Lucy Liu, yeah, totally.
Yeah, exactly.
He hated her.
She fucking hated him too. So.
What were they in together? That's probably a death.
Yeah, Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's Angels.
Oh yeah, sure.
That wonderful classic trilogy.
Yeah,
wonderful
Shall
Criterion
never be
adaptation
forgotten.
Charlie's
of
Angels.
one of the best shows ever. God, that show was so good, man. Those movies were so not well, you know.
Yeah,
I know.
I don't know, man. This is just a really heartwarming film. I
Yeah.
think it's the two things that warm my cockles are seeing Bill Murray prime, like seeing Bill Murray in his
Absolute
prickish
prime.
greatness, and the redemption piece. Like it's like the seeing the cast of this era piece, and then it's like enjoying the redemption-y story piece. You know, it's just a classic ass film. I said, you know, we've done almost 300 of these, and whenever, you know, I'm like staying up all night the night before to watch the movie because I got shit going on. M's always like, "Oh, what are you guys watching?" And I'm like, "Oh, Laser Aliens of Mars Part 2." And she's like, "Fucking okay, dude." But with this one, I was like, "Oh yeah, we're watching Groundhog Day." She's like, "Oh fuck, that's a great."
Oh,
movie.
really?
It was too late for her to like stay up. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to bed," but I love that one. She actually said, "Oh, cute." So
good, man.
it's clearly a beloved flick all around.
Indeed, it is, man. It is very loved. It's also been like, you know, put in the Library of Congress, put in the National Film Registry. It's BBC's top 100 comedies of all time. Like, yeah, I mean, I forgot about the accolades of it, you know, because it was sort of I wouldn't say a quiet movie, but it was just kind of like, you know, Harold Ramis, like, oh, here's this movie I did, you know what I mean? And then it was like one of, if not the biggest movie of the year, one of the biggest grossing movies of the year. It had a $14 to $30 million budget. It grossed $105 million, which is 93 was huge money. So, you know, it's massively popular, man. I read that, you know, Ramis would receive emails from people, all kinds of spiritual people and spiritual leaders, Buddhists and, you know, rabbis and all of these different people just talking about the film and its depictions of reincarnation and this, that, and the third, man. So it's like, there's so much there, man. It's so cool how it spreads out on so many levels and topics, man. I just love that, you know, like as a kid, I was like, I thought it was so funny, you know what I mean? Like I focused on the comedy of it, you know, and now this time watching it twice, I was really, I mean, thinking about the whole thing, but thinking about, you know, changing your life and all of those different things, man. So it's definitely in the collective conscious of the world.
Yeah.
You know, like they like Edge of Tomorrow has been described. I never saw this when we were talking about Edge of Tomorrow, but it, you know, apparently it's described as the sci-fi Groundhog Day. You know what I mean? And
what do you mean you never saw this? What does that mean?
I never saw any of that press describing it as such.
I thought you were saying you never picked up on that. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, same.
No. You know what I mean? In us going through that movie, I never saw any of that press, but like apparently the book has, you know, the character in the book always wakes up at 6, and there's, you know, a couple of lines that are, you know, clearly out of Groundhog Day. So it's kind of cool. It's just got a wide reach. The movie's got a wide reach and a huge audience, and I think it's great.
Yeah,
and that's what makes it great.
No doubt about it. I mean, it's not meant to be insulting, though very insulting. It's like a Hallmark card of a movie. Like there's not a whole lot that's risque about it, you know.
Yeah, but it's like a
except for some sleazy hookups, you know.
Except for
there's definitely a couple of those, dude. Right, but it's kind of like a mushroom-laced, acid-laced Hallmark card, you know, because it's like looping over and over again. You know, I don't know.
Are there any theories out there as to why this is happening in the movie?
There is a.
One would think the internet would be fucking abuzz with like theories about this.
This is exactly the kind of internet food that the internet likes.
Totally. Right. And I think the reason that there isn't a huge Reddit thread about this is because there's like a commentary or there's info where Ramis and the writer talked about what it was, and it was like an ex-girlfriend fucking puts a curse on him or some shit, and they decided to like cut it because it sounded dumb and the magic of not knowing was better, and that was exactly the right decision.
It was.
So you don't need to speculate because they actually tell you what it is, and then when you find out, you're like, I wish I didn't know that.
Yeah.
This is a pill to make your ex-boyfriend live the same day over and over again.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Yes, well played. Well played, Richard Doofus. It's funny, I wrote that as the last note I wrote was I love that you just get thrown into it and there's zero explanation of why this is happening. You know, it just lets you focus on the action and what's going on. And I dig that.
Kev.
You know? Yeah.
It's aliens.
It's
It was his ancient aliens.
Aliens, dude. Fucking ancient aliens. Ancient astronaut theorists say it is not only probable, but possible.
Oh my fucking God. I mean, you know,
So
it's
good.
actually, you know, the funniest thing is the ancient aliens joke is a better reason than the real cursed ex-girlfriend bullshit reason.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, that whole like thing is so dumb. Like, the cursed ex-girlfriend. But I'm surprised that I'm somewhat surprised that like the internet neckbeards didn't come up with some other theories, you know?
Sure.
Or there's not other theories out there. That is a little suspect.
Let's start it. Let's start
people. I hate those kinds of things, but it's amazing that there isn't any. Yeah, there's so many of them out there. I'm always like just so annoyed by it. There's like the whole Signs thing where like somebody posited that it's not, you know, the movie Signs, and the Shyamalan movie. Someone posited that it's demons, it's not aliens invading, and that like, you know, the daughter is like leaving glasses of water around, and she's actually an angel, so it's holy water and it burns the demon. Like it's just like, yeah, okay, sure, but
maybe
conjecture
Dude,
much,
razor,
like,
bro.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like
that just sounds like the what was the I can't.
And it's like popular. It's like a popular theory.
That's
like
exactly,
people are like, yeah, it's totally it, dude. It's totally it.
Well, it's I mean, I'm gonna fucking nerd out here, but
you nailed it, bro.
Dude, that's exactly. Like, I've been saying the same thing. But it's you know, totally burning fucking that. Galileo on the stake for thinking that the Earth is not the center of the universe. You know, like the entire world is like, no. All these weird little things that we're observing are explained by this very convoluted idea.
No, but Mel Gibson was a preacher and he's questioning his faith and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like, I don't know.
Okay, bro.
Like, yeah, sure, maybe. So
I guess.
Considering that somebody went through that much trouble for that fucking movie, like
legendary flick.
The fact that nobody's done that for this.
Have you ever seen is Signs the one with Joaquin Phoenix in it, or is that the other Shyamalan movie?
No, it's Joaquin.
Did you ever seen that little like meme that was like, remember that time when Joaquin and Phoenix nailed the boards to the door to try and keep the aliens out? Have you ever seen that?
No.
Hang on, let me see if I can find it.
I think there are a lot of those out there, Ben, for sure. Like and those people even sometimes like a writer or an actor or a director will come in and comment, you know, to the general theory crafters and say like, well, actually, this is what we were thinking. And then people still don't believe it. And they still believe that their way out theory is it, you know, silly.
Yeah. I mean, it's whatever. If that's your jam, then I don't want to yuck your yum, but just,
I do.
It's not for me.
Yeah. Or I think it's important to take things at face value. So, certainly with these films. Like,
dude, Occam's razor, like it's the simplest reason is the reason.
Well, yes. I like doing deep dives on, you know, theories about certain things in films, you know, and it's like fun to explore in this space. But then I also just watch the film at face value. It's like, it is what it is, you know?
That's it. There's that video.
obsessed with the way Joaquin Phoenix hammers this nail in Signs. He hits the nail like one time.
I just think it's really funny.
Obviously not a carpenter.
I just like that it's like
Betty.
This is the opposite problem of the fan fiction bullshit of it's always like aliens. I love it. It's always like some random person noticing something really obscure for 5 seconds in a movie and then making a meme about it. Like, I love this, and I hate the fucking ancient aliens bullshit of like the reason why something happened, the fucking demons thing.
Yeah.
The internet's good for 2 things: curmudgeonly fucking Reddit threads and like fucking hilarious stupid shit that's 5 seconds long.
Yeah, that's true.
That is pretty funny though. It's like they drilled a hole and then like he stuck the nail in the hole and then pretended
was
to hit
ready to go. I'm amazed he didn't fucking hit his hand. It was so great.
No, so like you can tell, like if you watch it like silent, like you can tell he's not even like really, like he's not really swinging the hammer. He's just kind of like, you know, he's just kind of shaking his arm with the hammer. And
he's he's air guitaring the hammer band.
He's air guitaring the hammer.
Yeah, he's totally air guitaring the hammer.
Right.
Well, that's my carpenter joke for the week. But yes, I completely agree. The fact that there is no theories about this movie is maybe a blessing and also maybe a curse.
No, I think it's a blessing, man. You know?
Yeah, we probably accidentally just started it.
I know,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
And then I'm sure somebody's going to die soon, too. I'm sure that, you know, that's what that means. Like Bill Murray's going to die in a week.
Oh, no. Don't say that.
Don't say that. That's not cool, man.
Well, sorry, man. It's just the curse of the show. It
is
on
yeah.
me.
Like the crocodile in Dundee.
Sure.
Did you see
usually
that?
Not the obvious person, you know?
Yeah.
Did you see the crocodile?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Like you told me about it.
Wait, what?
I love it.
What happened?
The crocodile in Crocodile Dundee died like 3 days after we did the show.
I know, but that's what happens, man. We've had so many people pass, like right before or mostly right after we do a movie of theirs.
The curse.
The curse.
Yeah.
EBD. Yeah, it has happened.
Where would you guys put this one? Like, not necessarily like in a rating sense, but I suppose I probably would have put this one in like a beloved comedy before the rewatch, and now I think it's kind of in the legendary tier for me. Like, I don't know. It really does feel legendary. Like one of the best of the best of the best with honors at this stage. It's not the top of the list, but it's on the list, I think, for me.
I don't know if it's top, but it's
not for
definitely
me.
Yeah. It's legendary. I mean, like my own personal list?
Whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be a real list, but just, you know.
No, I get it.
Feeling.
I think it would probably be in my top 20, man. It's like that good. You know? I mean, I've seen it almost more than any other movie I've ever seen.
Sure.
It's that good, you know?
Did you say not for me or yes for me, Benny? I think you said not for me. Right?
I said not for me.
Yeah.
I would say it falls into the beloved comedy category.
Yeah, okay.
Not that it's not worthy, and not that I'm criticizing your pivot there, but I just don't think for me that's where I would put it. I don't even know if I would say I think it's the most legendary Bill Murray movie.
No, I would agree with you there for sure.
What? It's not the most legendary, or is?
I don't know if I would say it is the most legendary
maybe, but...
Bill Murray movie. Yeah. What would you say is the most?
I don't know. Not this.
For the general public, I would say it's probably Ghostbusters franchise. Well, maybe not, but
I don't know. Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
is
maybe the first Ghostbusters movie. Could be. Anyway, it's great, but I think it just, I don't know, like the fact that it came out in 93 means that it holds no particular nostalgic value for me.
Sure.
That's like a year after I graduated from high school. So like I was just not really paying much attention to like, those kinds of movies. Like I was on to something different at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same here.
So I've seen it, but it's never been like a big deal nostalgia kind of movie for me, you know?
Sure.
That was a very excuse me, nutrient vacant time in my life as well.
Totally.
It was,
Got all
man.
my calories from beers.
That was that was my food desert, 93. It was just, I don't know. There wasn't much going on.
I want to kudos to like a Caddyshack or a Stripes, but I think Scrooge might be my personal fave.
Really?
It was such a formative...
Scrooge is my favorite version of A Christmas Carol.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt about that.
I can get down with that. Yeah.
I really like later Bill Murray, and he was playing smaller parts. Like, I absolutely fucking adore him in The Royal Tenenbaums. He's hilarious in that, but it's such a small part. Or Rushmore, for example. Lost in Translation. I really
Aquatic.
Like. So Aquatic, yeah, totally. So there's lots of later stage. I mean, him when he was the zombie in is it Zombieland? The movie's kind of dumb, but zombie golfer or whatever the fuck.
Oh, you talking
we
about
just
that?
Watched that recently. It's like him and
the Mark Wahlberg, Woody Harrelson movie.
No, there's one where he and Adam Driver are like the sheriff and the deputy of a town, and like there's like a zombie invasion going on, and it's like a Jim Jarmusch flick, I think, and it's like pretty. It's like like a very dry black humor kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, with Woody Harrelson and Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh yeah, Zuck. Well, that was Zombieland. Maybe that's another one. I actually don't know.
I don't even remember what the fuck it was called.
I fucking love Bill Murray and Fantastic Mr. Fox also. And a ton of Wes Anderson shit.
No, not Zombieland.
Zombie Town?
The Zombies. Is it Garfield?
Zombie Town?
There's Zombieland and there's Zombieland Double Tap.
Zombie Town has Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd in it.
You have Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd in you.
And Bruce McCullough, dude. And Scott Thompson. Holy shit.
It was Dead Don't Die. Sorry.
There you
There
go.
you go. I'll take an off-show death, Kev, for how we've gotten a couple messages of
Bruce?
singing praises to our stupid conversation last week, where I was like, and that's the movie, folks. You're like, dude, this is the show.
Oh,
bro.
right. Oh, is that right? Did we?
Ice Cream and Marlboro Miles worked well, I think.
Nice. Well, there you go.
Did you guys watch the Palm Springs flick, that more recent Andy Samberg one?
What was that death, real quick, dude?
I don't know. Like, that's the show, bro, death.
Oh my God.
What?
Nothing.
Go ahead, Chad. Sorry.
Did you guys see that? It's kind of a remake of this, but the Palm Springs movie from a few years ago with Andy Samberg.
It's a remake of this?
It's a time loop movie, so it's not like a direct remake, but it's seems to be kind of like attempting to capture the same lightning in a bottle for a newer generation via a different story. It's like they go to a wedding, like the dude's like in Palm Springs for a wedding and then has a time loop for 40 years reliving this day. It's very, very similar.
Palm Springs?
Yeah, Andy Samberg and Liotti, who I wasn't familiar with before this, J.K. Simmons. It's kind of worth a watch. I mean, it's nowhere near this, but...
Andy Samberg, old jizz in his pants himself.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. You seen that one, Benny? I would imagine, probably.
No, I have not
I
seen
have
it.
not. Stuck in a time loop, two wedding guests develop a budding romance. Cool.
I don't know where to here. I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about plot-wise. Maybe it's casting?
Nope, the movie sucks. Nothing to talk about. Let's wrap it up.
Wrap it up, fuzzball.
Cast. Okay. Well, I mean, we can kind of skip Bill Murray because we've talked about him sort of
Love him.
already. We love him. He's legendary. This is I'll just say about him, like, this is one of his great performances, man, where you really get to see, as I said earlier, both sides. You get to see that great sarcastic comedy, cynical comedy, and you get to see him in a romantic role, really, and a dramatic role. It's like he knocks it out of the park. There's nothing else to say.
Agreed. Keaton was in talks for this. I guess he turned it down and then obviously went on to do another Ramis flick that we've already done, Multiplicity, with McDowell. So I like that they each do those movies and not each other's. Like, I think Murray is so perfect for this role, man. It's not even funny.
He is. And there was a lot of repeat actors that were in Multiplicity that were in this.
Sure.
Which is cool. Let's talk about Chris Elliott for a minute, dude. Like he was so crazy popular, like 90s, late 80s even maybe. I don't even remember, but I distinctly remember him having a reign of terror and comedy, and he was kind of like goofy and gross in that like Married with Children kind of way, you know, and didn't he have like a stupid show called The Paperboy or something like that? Yeah. And he was kind of everywhere, man, for a while there.
Totally.
And while I liked him, I wasn't like in love with like his shows. I didn't watch them, you know? I don't know. I think I like stuff like this that he did the best.
He was in The Abyss.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, dude, he was one of the shit. He was one of the control. Yeah, one of the controllers in the control room on that ship topside. Bad. Crazy. Dude, he was in The Abyss.
I mean, it's a bit of a random one.
That's funny though.
Yeah, it's pretty random.
It was.
He was in all kinds of stuff. I definitely remember him from TV and like the little bit parts and stuff. I definitely love him. Like he's quite good in this.
I think he's great in this, man.
And it's not a big role here, you know? Like, I kind of remembered him. I had this, like, imaginary thread where there's a scene where, you know, Bill Murray actually befriends him more than just giving him a coffee, you know? Like, I remember it being a little bit more redemption-y there, but clearly I just had a soft spot in my heart for Chris Elliott.
Oh, it says he's on Schitt's Creek. Hasn't one of you guys watched that?
I haven't seen it.
Yes, I have seen it. I have not. I don't know. I think I watched like the first maybe 2 seasons of it, and not that I would have kept going, but whatever I was streaming it on only had the first 2 seasons or something like that. So
we were loving that.
So that was that,
and then I just got distracted and never went back to it. But I probably would, given the chance.
Oh, Cabin Boy! That was the big movie
that
he did, and that was the year after this. And then he was in something about Mary. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? Oh, Groundhog Day. Scary
that
movie.
one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, scary movie too. I could have swore he had like a show or something called like The Paperboy or something weird like that.
Yeah.
Get a Life. That was
Get
it.
a Life,
90 to 92. Get a Life. Or maybe there was a movie called Eagle Heart. What the hell is that?
I feel like I should see Cabin Boy.
Have you not seen?
Oh, remember
Boy?
he has that cameo in Kingpin too. That's another great comedy we should do.
I feel like a Cabin Boy, if not seen before, will just not hold up. I don't know, man. That's a risky maneuver.
I can't imagine it.
Probably
but
not.
I would do it for the show. I'd do it.
I would do it for the show.
It's got Brian James in it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm always a sucker for him, dude. He's great.
And Brian Doyle Murray.
David
Letterman.
Using that as a segue to Brian Doyle Murray.
Dude.
Also in Multiplicity. Also in everything, right?
Dude,
and a lot of people don't...
An epic fucking voice actor.
Exactly right. And he's all over the place, man. Like, a lot of people don't realize that he's on
the flying
Saturday Night
fucking
Live.
Dutchman in SpongeBob. Holy shit, I love that.
And he was on Saturday Night Live, like right after his brother was on it.
He's a funny dude.
Back in the 80s, and like he's just done so many things, man, and he's really funny.
He's great, man. He's got such a distinctive voice.
He really does.
Oh my God.
He can, like, before I knew he was in the movie, but like,
right.
He comes onto the radio there, like right after Sonny and Cher, and it's like, oh yeah, that's fucking him.
Yeah, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Wow, he's 80, dude.
They all are, man.
Or he will be. He will be. His birthday is right next to mine.
You will be. You
Vanderhoff,
will be.
dude, from Wayne's World. I love
Dude, we just watched that the other night, dude.
What, Wayne's World?
No, Empire Strikes Back.
Empire. Yeah.
Oh yeah, with the kids.
I've started the kids on the whole. I said, guys, what do you want to do? We need to start watching Star Wars, and they're like, well, can we start? I said, well, why don't we start with Clone Wars? Because that was like, animated, and they were like, no, let's start with the first movie. I was like, all right,
like episode 1.
like literally the first movie.
A New Hope.
They, sat and listened to me go through the whole, I saw it in the theater, blah, blah, blah.
So
And,
episode 4.
Yes.
A New Hope.
A New Hope.
Bro. The
Just making
first
sure.
one.
Just making sure.
Okay. The first one is A New Hope.
I agree, but, some people would be like,
Episode
actually,
4.
that's episode 4. Episode 1 is the first one. So you didn't
Bro,
clarify.
it's me. It's me,
I know.
not some neckbeard from the internet.
All right.
We're talking
Well,
chronological
technically-
here, not
If we were going in chronological order, it would be Clone Wars, then Phantom Menace, then
our
Attack of the
chronology,
Clones.
not the fucking Star Wars universe
I'm
chronology.
with you. Just making sure.
I said, we'll watch Empire Strikes Back next week. And I was like, this is the best Star Wars movie out of all of them.
We did the same recently. We watched. I downloaded all the like 4K 77, 4K 83,
The new
4K 80
release. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys
like,
were supposed to throw that up in the drive for me too.
Oh,
they're
sorry.
like
I found my Blu-rays, so I didn't need them. But I would like to watch those. Go ahead, Ben.
no,
Sorry.
they're
Totally.
the original versions. They're the undoctored,
Yeah.
unfucked
Fuck
versions
with. Yeah,
with like the original lopty neck and shit. You know what I mean? Like,
dude.
yeah, no meddling by fucking Lucas, other than his initial meddling.
Dude, you had me at lopty neck, bro. You always have me at lopty neck, bro.
He's got a lopty neck.
Dude,
I have a
do
bit
have
of
a
a
lofty neck. I do have a lofty neck. But
No, I was
I don't
talking
give a
about,
shit.
I was talking about Lucas.
he has a
Lucas
lofty
is a
neck.
lofty neck. Old turkey neck himself. You'd think if you had $6 billion, you could do something about that.
You think he would just at least grow his beard out a little more
Right.
instead of shaving it at the jawline and like practically
Right.
accentuating it more. Like,
He's got a fucking kielbasa on his fucking chin. I like how Kev's ejecting to do the song. That's a death, my man. So what did the kids think? Are the kids old enough to give a shit? Did they like it?
I was blown away at how much they loved the first one. They were so into it, man.
Because it's
And they
slow
were like
for
the
a
thing.
kid, that you would think, yeah.
It is exactly. So I thought Empire would be like the one, but I found them more distracted during Empire, and I kept being like, guys, watch the movie. Guys, watch the movie. You know, I mean, that could be anything with little kids, but like they were very into the first one, and the thing they loved the most, like all those little weird things I threw in WhatsApp, I was just trying to put them in there so I wouldn't forget them, and like. They kept Dalton kept calling it the Emilium Falcon. I love that, dude. And then the favorite thing that they liked, oddly enough, was when the Jawa shoots R2 and makes that screaming noise, like right when they meet Ben. Like that was their favorite thing. They were doing that for like the next 2 days.
Love it.
They're like, Dad, the Jawa, isn't it? Yeah. It was so weird. It's just interesting to see, you know?
What are the ages now? I can't remember. It's like
They're
9 and
6.
6 or
She just
something?
turned 8.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
6
you
and 8. So
yes, yeah.
good ages for it, man. But it was a good, like, as far as like introducing your kids to classics like that, it could not have gone any better.
Nice, yeah, I love it. I gotta do it with old E-Man, but I think it's
Sure.
still a little early.
How old is he?
He's 7, but it's more just like attention span stuff. We watched like when Mando season 1 came out, he and I watched it together. Like he was like 3 sitting there watching it with me. So like it's not a problem. He liked it, but he was Mando for Halloween a couple years ago. So
nice, dude. Lil Mando.
little Mando, dude. I was Baby Yoda, obviously, because it has to be done. So I had a
Should've been
4-year-old.
not, dude.
I should have been. I had a 4-year-old's Baby Yoda costume and a Lebowski bathrobe. So like a little like
God.
Baby
That
Yoda
is
yarmulke
perfect.
on my head with a Lebowski bathrobe. It was pretty good.
Just add a lit cigarette to that.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm Baby Yoda.
Yeah. Exactly. I should have been a
Right?
Ugnaught. Yeah, you're right. If I had more prep.
Oh, is that
time,
what you
I
said?
could've.
An Ugnaught?
Queel.
Yeah. He is an Ugnaught.
I have
He'd
spoken.
be perfect. I have spoken.
I think Queel is one of my favorite Star Wars characters of like
Totally,
the modern era, man. I just
totally. He's so good.
Queel is amazing. The fact that they made Queel look like Nick Nolte was amazing.
It's pretty good.
That was. You've said that so many times too, man. I know
and it's
you
right
love that.
every time.
I do love it. It is a little touch that just is perfect. Chef's kiss.
I love a little touch that warms Jar-Higo's heart.
I feel like Brian Doyle Murray should be. Has he done any Star Wars? I can imagine him doing some. He must have done some. Brian Doyle Murray. His voice is so Star Wars ready.
I can see it.
Like maybe he was like the the four-armed diner chef from fucking
exactly,
exactly, clones or whatever.
Fucking, right? Am I right or am I right?
Well, what do you know,
Camilo Saber Dart?
You see, they're cloners. The size of your pocketbook.
I love it.
Right?
So yeah, that's Brian Doyle
You
Murray
want a
and
cup
Star
of Java juice?
That movie, that whole thing just went to complete shit.
It did, but the robot waitress with the one leg that was a wheel was awesome, dude. She's probably one of the shortest lived but coolest robots in Star Wars.
It was a fucking live action Jetsons movie, maybe.
I'm not saying she was the best. Uba's probably the best.
Uba is the best robot. Yeah,
Uba is the best robot.
Like Uba and like that robot that's like a box, you know, just like
the Gonk droid.
Yeah, the Gonk.
Why have we not
like
said
Gonk?
Umba's name like Uba?
Gonk.
Oomba.
Next time we see him, we gotta do that.
Oomba.
Oh, I'm sure he'll send us a message after he hears this. Oomba. Unknown. He has lost the will to live.
Fucking
He's
unreal.
perfectly healthy, but he's lost the will to live.
Oh my
Too many
god.
cul-de-sacs. That's good. I don't know how we got on that tear, but
I don't know either, but I love it.
Oh, we were casting out about Brian Doyle Murray saying, you know,
Which still doesn't make any sense as to how we ended up here. But here we are.
Still makes no sense. Yeah,
kind of, because we were talking about how he's tailor made for Star Wars.
No, that was
because Ben, I know how it started. Because Ben started going,
You will be.
you will be,
or something like that. One of those.
You will be.
Yoda's muffins.
I forgot about that.
Plenty of fiber they have.
Eat them, you will. Yoda's
Keep
muffins.
they will.
Keep you regular, they will.
Now with more red dye.
Sorry, Chad.
No, you're good.
Yoda's
Can't even do it.
No. Yoda's muffins. Now.
Fuck it. It's gone. I can't do it now. I was going to say now with less high fructose corn syrup.
There you go.
Now with 80% more bran fiber.
I can't. I'll have to wait.
Glued to the throne you will be.
The Throne Wars it is.
80% more fiber it has.
Out of trouble you will stay.
On the toilet you will
Master
be.
Yoda. What was
Is that how Yoda
dies?
I reckon he dies because he ate too many muffins.
He did, dude. He shit his head out of his own ass.
Gone for too long you were. I ate muffins, I did.
Oh God, Master Yoda, what is that
No,
smell?
Yoda. This is like an empty tin of six muffins.
Right?
Too many muffins. Eaten have I.
No, you gotta do it in the dying Yoda voice for that part, Ben. When he's like on the bed, you know.
Oh, hell yeah.
Really struggling.
Luke, too many muffins. Eaten have I.
Oh my god.
And then Obi-Wan appears and Luke's freaking out. He ate too many muffins. So did I, if you remember.
You know, when you saw me fight Dolph, my body didn't transmute to the Force. I shat myself out of my own asshole. Into
shit.
one concentrated pile beneath my robe.
One concentrated pile beneath my robe.
That's why my robe was brown, Luke. So you wouldn't see.
Oh my god. I showed the kids that. Did you guys watch that video that somebody did? It was like a recut where they made the fight that you don't get to see between. Yeah. So I showed them that after Empire and they freaked out. They absolutely loved, especially Dalton. Loved
Hell
that.
yeah. That is cool recut. Love it, I do.
Love it, I do.
Well, there's Yoda's muffins.
Too many muffins. Eaten have I.
Go to the can, I must.
Dude, that just makes me think about like Luke hanging out with Yoda.
Toilet paper we are.
You just wipe it on a Womp Rat or whatever those things are. Those little fucking
Womp Rat, T16, Gondark.
It reminded. I'm just gonna fucking have a stroke, and then I'm gonna tell you something.
Yeah, please finish the
Talking
stroke
about
first,
this makes me
then
think of
finish your talking point.
Luke being with Yoda for like a couple of months and having to shit on Yoda's little short toilet, and how funny that would be. That's totally like a robot chicken. You know, like you can totally see that.
Yeah.
And using a Womp Rat to wipe his ass.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't know how to use the three
I think we
Womp
need
Rats.
a new Womp Rat. This one's really gross now.
Yeah. Learn how to use the three Womp Rats, you will. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right, well, that was Brian Doyle Murray.
Back to the cast.
And that's Brian Doyle Murray, folks. Let's talk about Andy.
Everybody loves Andy. What's not to love about Andy? God damn, she's just...
I don't know. She
Such
is
a
so
charmer.
pretty, man. Yeah, she's really...
We sung her
really
praises on high during Multiplicity, so I imagine
Okay,
we'll
we
repeat a
can-
lot of
we-
the same stuff.
Sure, or we can abridge it or skip it or whatever. That's fine. I don't know.
She was just a great foil. You know,
Hudson Hawk.
to-
She was in Hudson Hawk, dudes.
She was in Hudson
Who?
Hawk. Yeah, we sung her praises there, too.
She was?
I kind of prefer her in Hudson Hawk to this, I think, actually. Like, I liked her in this a lot, but the character was very anti-Phil as opposed to being her own thing. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I liked her in Multiplicity as well, but
She's so good in that, yeah.
I don't know.
So it's not her fault that the character here is very...
I mean, she's playing the straight man, really.
Yeah, but she's straight man, which is like, I like romantic poetry and I want to live in the mountains. All the things he's not, you know? So, like, it's kind of...
Right.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's the straight man and the muse at the same time, you know?
Sure.
Because, like, she's his muse, and then, you know, that's ultimately, like...
She's lovable. Like, by the end when he's whispering and she's asleep on the bed, like... You can see why he's into her. Like, she's charming as fuck. And I think the kindness is the thing that really gets him, you know, and like turns him. So
Yeah.
she pulls that off in spades. Andy McDowell just seems like a very kind human, or at least she pulls it off from an acting point of view.
No, I think she really is like that.
Probably. Hi, Kat.
shit, I found it. Irish Road Trip.
I told you were gonna go and find it.
Spencer for Hire. Wow.
Spencer for Hire.
Spencer's Gifts for Hire.
Apparently Andy McDowell was in Spencer for Hire.
I don't know that one.
As a regular or just like as a one episode?
Looking like maybe a one episode.
Robert Urich.
Robert Urich. She was Maggie. Yeah. Assuming.
So yeah, just to wrap up Andy, she's great in this. I mean, she's the muse. She's the sort of opposite of Phil. What he wants to be, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Inspiration, you know. It's good. Let's talk about somebody who has a small part but made a massive impact on the film, and that would be Stephen Tobolowsky, who plays Ned.
Yeah,
Ryerson.
Ned the Head.
Dude, cannot forget that dude, man.
I wanted to say that he's been in everything, but it's really, I think it's just, he's been in a bunch of stuff, but it's this that really just gets it. He's so good.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And he can do all kinds of stuff. I've seen him be really dark and creepy, dude. And it's like, it's pretty creepy, you know?
Yeah.
He was in Sneakers. You remember that movie, Chad? It was Redford and what's his name? River Phoenix and
Nick Marv remembers that movie.
And all the Dan Aykroyd was in it.
He has.
Did you say he was in it?
Nick Marv remembers that movie. It's got Redford in it.
Yes, he does. But anyway, he had a pretty big part in that. But you know, I don't know. He's done a lot of great stuff, man. I always love seeing him in anything, and like this, man. Holy shit! You know, they did a lot of the. I was reading that they did a lot of the similar stuff. You know, stuff that was very similar. They just do it right away on the same day, you know, and that was one of them. Sense. So he was probably in there for like 2 days shooting.
Probably,
man. You know what I mean? And
he left it in.
It's pretty cool, man. In Woodstock, Illinois, where they filmed this, there's 2 plaques not honoring the movie, but you know, kind of in remembrance. And one of them is on the curb right above the pothole that he steps into.
First step is a doozy.
And then the other one is a plaque right on the corner where Phil walks around and sees Ryerson, and it says Ned's Corner on it. Which I love pretty cool. Yeah. In a little delish early nug.
Dude, if you'll allow it,
Sure.
I want to pull forward my Stephen Tobolowsky nugs because the dude is a fucking legend.
Yeah.
And I'd like to share with the class. So
please.
I have no idea if this shit's true, but I'm going to assume it is. So he claims to have a form of ESP that he calls hearing tones. And while working with David Byrne on a film, he told Byrne about his gift and inspired the song Radiohead about him. And then the band Radiohead took its name from the song. So he's like the originator of the band name Radiohead in a really weird way through David Byrne.
That is weird.
So like, okay, that's kind of random. And he's got ESP, or so he says. He was almost murdered twice in 1 week in Hartford, Connecticut.
David Byrne?
Yep.
What's that, buddy?
Like the Talking Heads, David Byrne?
Yep.
Yeah, the same one. Yeah. He was almost murdered twice in Hartford, Connecticut. What?
Yeah. So he said that's unusual. The first was he was at a pub, and after a brawl with someone who was attacking a woman that he was with, he was held at gunpoint at the pub. And then later in the week, he went to pizza with the same girl, and he got stabbed, and the knife only partly penetrated his belt buckle. He broke his neck in 5 places separately while horseback riding in Iceland underneath an active volcano after the wind picked up and the horse up and threw him off. And he wore a neck brace for a while. He was once held hostage at gunpoint at a supermarket in Dallas, Texas. And then I think one of my favorite ones is he was the lead singer in the first band formed by guitar legend Stevie Ray Vaughan. They went to high school together in Dallas, Texas.
Get the hell out of here. Wow.
The guy's got the most ridiculous series of nugs, and I just I don't know. I just think it's fucking hilarious. And
Nug legend Stephen Tobolowsky.
Like, okay, man, Ned the Head. So there you go. I don't have anything to say about it other than I love it.
I'm dying to know what he would possibly be doing in Hartford, Connecticut.
That's what sticks with you.
Well, I live in Connecticut, and there's nothing there. It's like insurance companies and gangs, dude.
Really?
Well, there he met the gangs.
Not much.
Not a lot at all, man. Like if somebody was saying that they were in, like out in Mohegan or in New Haven where Yale is, and there's great theater there, or even Westport for that matter, I would get that, but I don't understand that.
So you're poking holes in it. You're doing your research. You're like, I don't believe any of this.
I don't believe any of it.
There is a cool art museum in Hartford, but that's about it.
Yeah, you're right. And that the Science Museum is there as well.
It's a tourist ad for Hartford. He is fantastic.
It's weird
in this movie.
It's like all these giant buildings and like no culture.
It is. It's like a non-city.
Yeah.
It's like it looks like a city, and you drive up on it, and you're
culture.
like, oh, civilization, and then it's like there's nothing there. You drive downtown, and there's literally nothing there. There's not even like people walking around.
No.
It's very weird. And then the prison's right there. That doesn't really help.
Hartford.
They never do. Hartford, city of lights.
And he almost died twice there.
That's it.
That'd be
Sounds
a
like
terrible
it's a common
place to die.
Right?
Not in Hartford. Ugh.
It would be, man.
I particularly love the moment that Bill Murray grabs him and he's like, "Can you take the rest of the day off?" And he fucking scoots off. That was really good, man. That and when Rita gives him a hard time in the restaurant at the end.
But just, I don't know.
Maybe that's another way of saying that it's nice that he didn't just do that street corner bit over and over. There's a couple little other things.
Yeah, not just that, but each time he did the street corner thing, you were either impressed watching him do it the parts of it exactly the way he had done it in the previous one, or you're impressed with like watching him, just come up with this new stuff, whether that was in the script maybe or it was improvised, I have no idea, but like he did it like the one when Phil's running away from him, he does it exactly like he did the first one, but he's running alongside him while he's doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know, just cool. And the whole it's a doozy thing with the puddle is that's like
and the bing.
Iconic now. Yeah. Bing. Bill, and I love when Bill Murray's like, bing. So, did you turn pro with that belly button trick, Nat, or what? Another fun fact about Tobolowsky. So, a lot of people were asked to be, and have done it, be the Grand Marshal at the, at Groundhog Day in actual Punxsutawney, right? And
I thought you were going to say the Grand Negus.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the Lord Marshal.
Inconceivable.
No, I thought you were going to say the Lord Marshal, dude. I kind of want to see him in that too.
Oh my God! So, can you imagine the Lord Marshal as the Grand Marshal for the Groundhog Day
Dude, it'd be
festival?
amazing.
That's Stephen Tobolowsky as the Grand Marshal,
dude.
The Lord Marshal.
I want that.
He and the Lord Marshal goes up to the stump, and uses that gauntleted hand to knock on the door.
That a peace you shall have.
Yeah.
Bing.
Bing. That would be really funny. Now I got all sidetracked.
Grand Marshal.
So that was in the middle of a nugget, right? So he's been asked to be the Grand Marshal and has been the Grand Marshal at the Groundhog Festival. So is Harold Ramis and so is Bill Murray. They've all done it. But the cool thing about Tobolowsky is that he did a whistling belly button trick that was described in the movie that he never did in the movie, which I thought was kind of cool.
What would that be?
I don't know. I really don't. I have no
clue. It's a crowd
clue.
pleaser, I imagine.
Whistling belly button.
Right?
That sounds like a health problem.
It does.
It does.
But it sounds like the Clone Wars, man. It sounds cool until you try and do it. Yeah, you gotta do some muffins, exactly.
No, that's what happens when you eat too many of Yoda's muffins.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know Yoda. He be getting you to eat
got
too
them
many of them muffins.
Got that whistling belly button going on now.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Similar to a Ned Niederlander there, I enjoyed the lady that owned the B&B. Much smaller part, but she was quite charming too.
Oh, yeah, Angela Patton, dude, Mrs. Lancaster. She's been in a bunch of stuff I've seen too. She's great. Didn't she? Oh, she played the wife of Donald Moffat in Trapped in Paradise with Nick Cage and
really?
John Lovitz and Dana Carvey. Yeah.
There you go. Jesus, you pulled that out of your ass. I like it.
Yeah, that's what old Mulvey does, bro. Snickety snicked.
Snicked.
I like how snickety snicked is a combination of both Wolvie's sound and Jay from Jay and Silent Bob.
No, that's why I did it, because that's what Jay does from when he in Mallrats.
Exactly, yeah. Jay,
it's fun. I mean, the thing about the cast in this movie is that there's not a lot of people in it.
No, there really isn't.
Like I mean, yes, there's a lot of actors in it, but like when you look at like I switched over to Wikipedia this week. I haven't read a movie on Wikipedia in a while, but I wanted to check out some of the pedigree info, and like those
like
the main cast list.
Yeah, the main cast.
Yeah, it's like 10 people long, and it's like, you know, Nancy Taylor and Brian Doyle Murray is Buster Green. Like, I mean, those are very small parts, man. Mrs. Lancaster too. Gus. I mean, my God, Gus and Ralph are in it for like 2 minutes.
That's a pretty, like, the train track.
Well,
stuff
it's a great scene, dude.
Right.
Because that's when he realizes that he can like get a bazooka and like blow shit up, you know?
Yeah.
And it won't matter. And I mean, so yeah, I don't know. The woman that plays Nancy, Marita Garrity, she was in a Seinfeld episode. She was the girl that dated Newman before Jerry, and Jerry like couldn't figure it out.
That was a good one.
I've never seen her in anything else. I don't know. Most notably as Nancy Taylor in Groundhog Day. Okay.
I very much enjoyed the him bullshitting her into thinking that they were in class together. Where she's like, "Oh yeah."
Yes,
you just feel so bad for
great.
the girl.
I know. I love when Ralph is like, "Yep, that about sums it up for me."
I got a sub off question for you, my man.
Yeah, go.
Rick Dukeman
was in sub
that
off, totally,
as Navigator C2A. Is that in the sonar room?
No. It's in the helicopter. Remember when they're flying him out to the submarine, and he's telling a story about throwing up from riding in rough weather while they're riding in rough weather. And he's like yelling it because it's so loud. And he's got that very distinct, like piercing voice.
Yeah.
You know, it's like kind of.
I should take a sub death for that. I'll take a torpedo death for that one. I should know that.
I guess. I mean, it's super
I should know
nerdy,
that.
dude.
I mean, come on, dude. It's fun.
All right. Okay.
It's our movie.
Okay. You got your death. What? The Rick. Let's call it the Rick Dukeman sub death.
Same in the beginning with Phil's assistant in the studio. I thought he was in the rest of the movie too, but he's just like
who, the guy that
Willie Garson is the guy's name. He was in
he's been in a lot of stuff. Yeah, he had a big role in Sex and the City.
Yeah, Sex and the City's probably. I never really watched it, but I think that's probably where I.
Yeah, but he's a good actor. I've seen him in a lot of stuff.
John from Cincinnati. That was the.
Yeah, that was weird. Anyway, so I mean, there's not really a whole lot.
It's sparse.
Else of cast. Yeah, it's very sparse.
Oh, did you see that one, like, what the fuck thing with Michael Shannon?
What about it?
Well, it was this, like, Michael Shannon's film debut, and I was like, what the fuck? And he was the dude that got married. He was Fred, the, like...
Yeah, no, I knew that.
I didn't recognize him at all when I was watching, because he's, like, such a kid.
Well, I didn't put it together, obviously, till years later.
Zod
but I was like,
is in this movie, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's Zod. right? And I love it. Yeah, Fred and Debbie Kleiser, dude. They're
Yeah,
great.
dude. WrestleMania tickets, awesome.
I know. I love that. And then, of course, Harold himself as the neurologist. I really like the guy that played the psychiatrist. He was really funny. I mean, it was a short scene, you know.
He's the
I have an alcoholic now. He's very like, he sounds like Mr. Rogers. That's why I like him.
he was the major domo in the Book of Boba Fett, the Twi'lek that like assists the mayor, the really skeezy Twi'lek dude.
Really?
Yeah. Like, sassy Twi'lek.
Oh
dude.
my God. What the fuck? Really?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, dude. I love that,
that's
dude.
so good. I love that.
Yeah, it's great.
That was so good. That was very, very good. Very memorable too, man. He was so excellent.
It really was. I love him in this too when he's just like, okay, can we like see? Can I see you again tomorrow? Like he's so over his skis. Belmore's just like punching himself with the pillow. Like,
is that not
fucking
good?
Great.
I have an alcoholic now. I was saying he sounds like Mr. Rogers when
he did a little bit, yeah.
Right. What else? Let's bits and bobs it to the end.
Bits and bobs.
I've got most of my notes are like bits and bobs, just like great lines and whatnot.
You said you got 10 pages of notes. Do you really have 10 pages of notes?
No, I have 2 pages of notes. So I actually counted the days. I was like, okay, so let me see if I can get an accurate count of how many days there actually are.
Oh yeah. What'd you get?
Right? And I literally counted them out. I even sectioned them out into certain sections. So there's 44 separate days that we see in the movie. Now that doesn't mean that he was in the loop for 44 days, but that's what we get to see. And there was the slaps section, which was 8 slaps, which was 8 times 8 days. He gets slapped in the face by Andy McDowell. And then there was 3 alarm smashings. And then
2 turtle doves.
There's depression, and then there's flip out and deaths. There was 4 deaths and 4 depression sections.
There's a lot. It feels like
I thought that was. It does feel like more, and I thought it would be more, but then I was like, no. And then I read in stupid "Let's Make Nuggets Not Fun" that it was 38, but I counted 44, and that was it, assuming that every time it was just later in the day, it was the same day instead of a new day.
Sure,
Yeah, but kind of interesting.
But they were saying something like 10 years or something.
Well, at one point he said 10,000 years, but it wasn't it. It was like...
It would have been years, which is wild.
Yeah, it was more like 10 years or something like that.
You're not going to become proficient in all that shit in a year or two. It would take you a
Well,
while.
that's what, there were like nerds posited that, like, to become a master ice sculptor... Well, yeah, to become a master ice sculptor and piano player, like, that's going to take you a little bit of time. It's not like that's going to be a year.
I can't even imagine how difficult it would be to do thousands of the same day. Like, it would be the most grindiest of grinds. I suppose you'd probably just video game out pretty hard, you know?
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing, is that you'd find things to do. I mean, first he's a glutton, and then he's like trying to get laid, and then, like, you know.
I love the armed car robbery. It's like so funny, dude.
The counting. I love the counting, man.
Yeah.
That was
3,
good.
2 quarters, 1. You know, like that. It was great.
Hey, Leon. Hey, Bill.
Gust of wind. Cue the truck. You know,
it's so good, dude.
It is. It's so much. The script is so tight in this movie that there's just so many quotable lines. I love in the beginning when he's the very first day and they're getting trapped there and it's snowing like crazy and he's talking on the phone and he's like, is there like a satellite? Is it snowing in space? I still love that. And then he goes, don't you have a line for like emergencies or celebrities? I'm a celebrity in an emergency. So funny.
I like the, do you ever have deja vu? I don't think so, but I could check with the kitchen.
Some of his most cynical lines are just so cutting. Like in that, So like the very first day when he comes downstairs and she's like, would you like some coffee? And he goes, I don't suppose there's any chance of getting a cappuccino or an espresso. And she goes, oh, I don't. And then kind of trails off. And then he turns away and he goes, know how to spell cappuccino or espresso.
Such a
like,
prick, man.
dude. Such a douche.
But he comes across as like a hardcore New York weatherman, but he's, actually just fucking regional Pennsylvania.
Hardcore,
like,
hardcore Pittsburgh. Hardcore Pittsburgh weatherman. Yeah.
Pittsburgh. It's
the Berg.
And the Berg.
Chad, to your comment about that line, there's another line when this Monte Carlo goes by, when he goes, it's at the first time he meets Ryerson, and he goes, I would love to stand here and talk to you, but I'm not going to.
He's some serious, and that's like the best thing about some of those lines is they're on the first day before he knows. So he's just like, he just doesn't give a fuck.
Well, he's at maximum douchebag too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like max. Like, wow, Larry, looking foxy tonight, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
can I get some cookies later? Are you going to sell some cookies?
They go, the two of them go, oh, hey, we're going to go to the Groundhog dinner. Phil, do you want to come? He goes, no, I'm just going to go home, probably read a Hustler or something. Like, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of really cutting ones. The bartender in the restaurant, he goes, can I have another one of these with some booze in it, please?
I love it. I think the bartender is an unsung hero. The amount of him like raising an eyebrow and not saying shit. There's just so many different shots at that. Just being like,
that and every single interaction they have with that anybody has with the bartender, he always shakes his head.
Yeah, exactly.
Like whether it's Chris Elliott trying to pick up Nancy or Rita and Phil. And then just to go back to the Josie Wales thing, like he does that thing that we used to do when we were kids, where he's got something in his mouth and he's trying to speak, but because you're holding it with your teeth, you can't pronounce every word and syllable properly. So he's like, my old fiance doesn't remember me. I don't know why I thought it was so funny. Doesn't remember me. Let's see, what else? Bitch and Bob, somebody else, go. I always wonder what happened to the cop car that was following him on the train tracks. Anybody?
Yeah, they're probably dead.
Train went by, no explosion. They must have got off.
They're dead. How sad was that old homeless dude, man? I feel like that was a big turning point for him.
Those are really, but again, like, it's like another thing that makes the movie so great is that he has this whole section as he's like becoming this better person where he sees the homeless guy and instead of ignoring him, like first he gives him his entire money roll. And then he's like, well, he finds the guy and he takes him in and he dies. And then he spends like, the next day it's like feeding him and it's touching, man. It tugs at your heart too, man.
And they're like can't do anything about it,
like legit. Yeah, and just the whole cosmic part where he's just like, no, not today. She's like, sometimes people just die, and he's like, not today, dude. So yeah, I really like that. The only time he missed the puddle one time.
It's a freaking gnarly puddle.
It is a gnarly, filled with ice, wet, gross. This was I'll save that for Nuggets.
Man, we're in Anik Nugget territory.
This was turned into a musical, a 2016 musical, Groundhog Day. I was like, what? Why would you do that? I know. Fucking stupid.
I'll share an Anik Nugget where I used to, like my mom was, I guess volunteering for the Nantucket AIDS Network. So like there was like a annual fundraiser that there was there every year. And I used to volunteer for that when I was like a teen through until like maybe 19 or 20. And you just go and it's like a white tie, black tie, whatever the fuck auction thing. And one year, and they would do themes. So like I think one year was like cowboys or some shit. So everyone got dressed up like cowboys. So I was dressed up like a cowboy and I was helping the auctioneer do the live auction. So it was like a silent auction and a live auction. And so I was just like bringing out all the shit. And then all of a sudden, like in the middle of it, he decides he's going to auction me off, just like they did in this movie. They're like, all right, I'm going to auction off a dance with this young man. And I got auctioned off, and there was the same kind of thing. Like some old ladies bid on me, and then this like unfucking believably hot trophy wife started bidding on me.
Whoa.
And my mom got jealous, and so she outbid this fucking trophy mom and like paid a lot of fucking money. And I was just like,
and you're
fuck you for cock blocking me, mom. I was like 18, you know? Like,
right.
Super funny.
I'm totally
dude.
picturing you up there going, Mom, quit it.
Dude, like,
Mom, you're cock blocking me.
This trophy wife was so hot. And I was, 18 and, lusty. It was rather funny.
And pitching a tent on stage.
Pitching a cowboy tent in my chaps.
There you go.
So,
boy, yeah.
Anic nugget to that, bullshittery. It was funny.
No, that's good. That's really good. Benny, what else you got? Bits and bobs. Anything?
You bits and bobbed me. You bits and bobbed in my battleship.
You were also auctioned off at an Antiquities Network Gala?
No, but it's not a real bits and bob.
You know what I noticed this time around that I never noticed in any of the watchings is when he starts trying to manipulate her and he's doing the drink thing, with the world peace and all the
oh yeah,
what is it? Sweet vermouth on the
Sweet
rocks
vermouth,
with a twist.
On the rocks with a twist.
Which interesting is Harold Ramis's wife's favorite drink, by the way.
There you go.
So when he first does that, they toast to world peace or whatever, and then they have a sip, and he has this very visceral reaction to it.
Yeah,
like
I saw that this time too.
He's like, this is so gross. And then she looks at him, and he's like, I never saw that before.
Totally.
Funny. What else?
What battleship, what was sunk, Benny? What was the one that you were going to bring up? Or was it just in general?
All of them, more or less. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
When he's at the diner. So wait, who's your perfect guy? And then me.
Yeah, that's me.
Me. So great.
Well, I was like in the diner with Rick Dukerman. He's like, "Oh, you're Phil, like the groundhog." It's like, yep.
Like the groundhog.
The deja vu. You ever have deja vu? Didn't you just ask me that? That was like clever in a clever way. I like that. The way it was delivered. I do like, this is not like a sarcastic line, but I like that clip of that poem that he uses. The guy that's always at the top of the stairs when he comes out first thing in the morning, and he says, "Winter slumbering in the open air wears on his face a dream of spring." It's like, that's like right before we do like the superhero part, James Bond part at the end.
Totally. We skipped over that dude,
really like that.
Ken Campbell. He was the
on
Santa
Herman's
in Home
Head.
Alone.
Yeah, and that. And he's been in a bunch of stuff, man. He's been around.
We just did.
There you go. And then I also like, and this is like when he's like been defeated by Rita, and it's, as he's trying to manipulate his way into her pants or whatever, and he's doing the newscast the next day, and he goes, and it's so fucking dark, dude. He goes, "You want me to give you a prediction on the weather? I'll give you a prediction on the weather." And he walks right up to her, and he goes, "It's going to be cold. It's going to be dark, and it's going to last you the rest of your life."
He had a dark period in this for sure, man. He was so depressed.
No, he says it's going to be cold and it's going to be gray. Oh, my God, it was dark, dude. Holy shit. So anyway, that's all I got for bits and bobs. Nugs?
Structurally, they were saying this is kind of a nug, that it follows the 5 stages of grief after death, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I read that. I thought that was interesting, too.
There's a billion nugs. None of them are really worth sharing other than those amazing Ned the Head nugs.
I just want to drive that point home a little bit further because I love ragging on Let's Make Nuggets Not Fun. Like, this particular movie is full of lore and nuggets, but there were so many. The whole section was inflated with a lot of non-nuggets and just uninteresting bullshit, which was disappointing. I rated a 2.
I like it. I'm just
I kind of burned all my good nuggets.
There are 144 nugs in the nug section, and none of them are worth sharing. Really,
They're really not. I mean, there's some semi-interesting stuff about production and whatnot, and some of the casting stuff. Like he tried to get Chevy Chase, he tried to get Michael Keaton and some other people. Tom Hanks was a major front runner, but all those people. But the one thing that is interesting about it is that all those people were too nice.
Yeah,
that's what he kept saying.
Bang on.
It is bang on, and that's a good little nugget. You know, it's like casting. They say casting is like more than 50%. So whatever.
There are 161.
Anyway,
nugs.
That's a lot. It's too many.
That's a lot of nugs, dude. It's a lot of pudding.
But there cannot be that much interesting shit, even on a movie this good.
It's because there ain't.
Because there ain't.
Never is.
Never is, Jarhigo.
Never is. I guess the writer was grumpy about the outcome of this movie and didn't like how.
Well, hold on, because that's
which
I read.
I disagree pretty hard.
Well, I read a good bit about that, and he said that he was, because from the standpoint of like you write something and then watching somebody change your creation and make it into something a little bit different is disappointing. But he says, on the other hand, I'm eternally grateful. He goes, this movie changed my life, set it in a different financial direction, and I've never had to ever worry about money. And then he goes, and the other thing too was like having somebody, being able to collaborate with somebody like Harold Ramis and have him take my script and then polish it up and do something with it and then make a movie out of it was also very cool. So it was a little bit of A and a little bit of B.
But then he finished up with something, if I remember, that was just like, but I'll always regret it or something like that. The last kind of sentence.
But you could be right.
Something like that.
Yeah, you might be right. I don't remember that, but you might be right.
But whatever.
Anyway, deaths. All right, so I had the you're hearing this after we recorded death, which is quite possibly one of the stupidest things I've ever said.
It's pretty good.
Certainly on this show. It's pretty good. And then Chad had the That's the Show bro death. And then Chad had the Rick Dukeman sub death, torpedo sub death. And that's it. That's all we got this week.
Medium.
It's a little nutrient. It's a little, what did I say? Nutrient vacant.
Flush out that system with some bran muffins.
Well, I mean, look, there's a lot of ways I look at the death section. Like, it's always great to have a good showing of deaths. That said, like, you can do we can do a show and have like 2 or 3 deaths, but like if they're really, really good, like that speaks volumes. So that's it.
That's it, bro. Recommendations. I would recommend that you revisit it. It is worth it. It holds up. I love it.
I think you can speak for all 3 of us. We all love it. Go see it.
Yes. What you said.
Yes.
Thank you, Richard Doofus. Thank you. Hey, Slave 2, what are we doing next week?
We bumped it for this movie. So this next movie is Sling Blade.
Ooh. Legendary. One of my favorites all time. And I know it's one of Ben's too.
It's not one of mine. I've not seen it.
And that's okay. So there you have it, folks. Sling Blade next week, the classic Billy Bob Thornton. Thanks for joining us on this journey of Groundhog Day, this legendary movie.
Happy Groundhog Day, everyone.
And that's it. Happy Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day.
May the shadow not be seen.
Yes, indeed, because it has been cold as shit this winter.
CAF.
That's it. So, from all of us to all of you, so long for now.
See ya.
Bye.
And that's going to wrap up this week's episode, folks. If you would like to check out the show notes for this episode, you can do so in your podcast app of choice or at our website, ebd.fm/episodes/289. So, folks, if you would like to help us and support the show, there's a number of ways you can do so beyond listening. And many people have done this or load these many years, and we certainly do appreciate it. In certain cases, it helps us keep the lights on and whatnot. So that would be rating us and reviewing us on these various different podcast mediums. The other would be just spreading the word, literally telling people that you know to check out the show. And then, of course, there's Patreon. You know, you can support us directly with money. Patreon.com/EBD podcast. And last but not least, if you would like to join in on the conversation, please do on Instagram. That's it. We love you. Thanks for joining us for Groundhog Day. We'll see you next week for Sling Blade Song. For now, folks. Bye.
Beady, beady, beady.
I have an alcoholic now.